You're sleeping enough, you're not sick, but you're still tired all the time. Ask yourself, all of you who are watching this show, wherever you're watching the show, just ask yourself this question. And let me tell you, you're not alone. A growing number of urban Indians are facing the same problem. Now, health experts may have found the answer, and it's more alarming than you think. But listen, we're not trying to create panic. Everything can be fine if you follow a pattern. But can I? I can't. Can you? Maybe. A 2024 survey has revealed a stunning truth. 67% of urban Indians say they feel tired most of the time, even after a full night's sleep. But doctors say this isn't just physical exhaustion, it's something deeper and maybe a little more alarming. Neurologists and psychiatrists are calling it ambient fatigue, a form of mental and emotional weariness caused not by overwork but by overstimulation. Just imagine if your brain is stuck in airplane mode, always on, always scrolling, always alert, but never truly at rest. And the culprits, they are hiding in plain sight, endless multitasking. You got to send a message to someone, you got to call your boss, you also need to switch off the TV, you need to switch off the gas because you're just wanting to have a cup of tea, you're multitasking most of the time. Constant digital noise. Even now when I'm speaking to you, just switch off your phones for some time, will you? 24/7 screen exposure, same thing. And an invisible pressure to always be okay. Like, I cannot ever show myself as vulnerable. I can never say that, you know what, I'm not feeling so great today. Can I be left alone? No way. You have to be okay all the time. Psychiatrists call it a silent mental health crisis affecting everyone, from startup workers and students to homemakers and healthcare professionals. And it's not just stress or burnout. Experts say it's the structure of modern life, fragmented attention, poor sleep, emotional disconnection, and very toxic productivity. Psychiatrists say people today make 35,000 choices a day. From financial anxiety to doom scrolling to loneliness, it's emotional overload without an outlet. Added to that, processed food, sedentary lifestyles, poor sleep quality, hormonal imbalances in those people who have this. And you've got a nation running on empty. Doctors are even seeing symptoms resembling chronic fatigue syndrome, which is called CFS, especially in women who often face the double burden of expectations. You run your kitchen, you run after your kids, you're working in an office. And if you're wondering why this tiredness feels disconnected, neurologists explain that chronic stress rewires the brain, leaving people unable to link tiredness to any one thing. The result? A quite exhausting detachment, a growing epidemic of people not in crisis but not okay. So, what's the solution? Let's debate. Dr. Sudhir Kumar, Senior Consultant, Neurologist, Apollo Hospitals is with us, and Dr. Deepak Raheja, Senior Psychiatrist and Director, Hope Care India. Thank you very much to both. Dr. Sudhir Kumar, good to see you yet again on the South Indian, sir. What is this? It happens with me. I sleep 8 hours, I exercise, I'm active, I eat okay, sometimes I cheat, I eat okay, but I'm tired. I mean, that freshness where you felt, I felt fresh. Of course, there is age, you will say you're old, but the thing is that, you know, when you got up and you said, today I'm feeling so fresh like a flower, it stopped long time ago. Do you think, Dr. Sudhir, that it's physiological or you think it's neurological as well?
Yeah, thank you, Sudhaji. It's a very important topic, and as you mentioned, these things are common. I have many people come to my OPD, many youngsters also, and saying that I feel totally tired, and they themselves say that I've got chronic fatigue syndrome, and I have tough time telling them it's not that. So what happens is there are multiple factors, and the most important factor is today people want to do too many things at the same time and in very short time. So they are having full-time jobs, so 9 to 10 hours of job. Then they have family to look after, and then they also have to commit on the social activities. So they need to manage that also very well. And they're in a hurry. They want to do everything fast, do it today, and they also want to do it perfectly. So as you can imagine, this is not humanly possible to do so many things at a time. And they feel that somebody else is doing, so why not me? And then
Dr.
this kind
Sudhir,
of
wait a
fear
minute.
builds.
Dr. Sudhir, it starts in school, no? If I cannot do well in maths, my father told me, look at her, she's doing so well. We've got you tuitions also. Still, you're only getting 60% in maths. I mean, you have to see this country is a country of rats. We are all supposed to run. You got into medicine. Dr. Reja got into medicine. I could not get into medicine. The point is, we all got to prove ourselves. It starts in school. What is the way out then, Dr. Sudhir? Because I'll be left behind. I will not get a job. Even with an MA and an MBA, I am not getting a job. So the situation is overall, na sir, where you are terminally fatigued.
I think earlier we only had our school or class to compare. Now with the social media and we have information coming from all across the country and even across the world. So now the comparison happens anywhere. Even if you are the best in the class or school, then your parent might say, but in some other city, in some other town, somebody else is better than you. So because information reaches so soon and then it gets highlighted. So the peer pressure and comparisons are even worse today in this digital era when information travels quickly in various parts of the
Right,
country.
yeah. Dr. Raheja, now obviously this is not a cause and effect. Like if I have, if I have gone and swam for 4 hours, I'll be tired. Or if I've cooked for 30 people without any help, I'll be tired. If I've studied for, let us say, 12 hours without a break, I'll be tired. That's not happening. We are tired as a nation. I want to ask you that if there is no cause and effect, then what is the reason then, Dr. Reja? Because experts are saying that it is not a traditional burnout. It is not. I have seen it in my office. I was talking to a colleague who said, this is my story. Someone else said, this is my story. And they are all working out. They don't eat sugar. They don't eat tala hua fried food, but they are all the time tired. Now, it's very easy to say, arey, pollution, look at the air you are breathing. It's not about Delhi. It's about Goa. It's about Thiruvananthapuram. It's about Chennai. What is the reason, Dr. Raheja? Is it that we are all overwhelmed by being overachievers?
Thank you for beginning to draw that distinction between being tired and feeling fatigued. So, here, what we are talking about is a nation, a society that's constantly dealing with pressures that's not just like you said pollution, but it is a syndrome of multiple inputs, a cognitive stimulation. Patients, people presenting with symptoms of pseudo attention deficit, they are becoming irritable, they are feeling anxious and depressed and on the edge and on the toes all the time. Unfortunately, what's happening is that every day we are grieving, we are dealing with unresolved grief, we are dealing with a life that we wanted to live, we are dealing with youth that's gone by, we are dealing with our aspirations, we are dealing with a relationship that we could not fix, we are dealing with the wealth that we could not amass. And amidst all of that, we are exposing ourselves to neurocognitive insult. That is, like you said, being in the airplane mode. We are not letting fatigue is a symptom. It is not a problem. It is not something to be just array, wake up, shake yourself. You're just being lackadaisical. You're just being lazy. It's not that. We are constantly going through a state of inertia which is not enough, which is not propelling us enough, and leading to what we often seen in marijuana users, amotivational syndrome. We are becoming a society that's gradually sinking into a lack of
Yeah,
a huge
yeah.
aspiration, but our ability to perform. We are in a overdrive mode.
Yes.
Our minds are not, no, I'm not talking about brain, minds are not stopping. We are non-stop constantly thinking, leading us to various morbidities and dysthymia, a chronic long-drawn subsyndromal depression is becoming more common than we thought. So I think it's a combination of many factors, what we are eating, what we are exposing, but primarily our screen time.
Dr.
The blue
Raheja, yeah,
light
screen time is a big
is one of
culprit,
the
but I
biggest
loved
culprit.
what you said, Dr. Raheja. Constant regret. that job that I couldn't get, that relationship that I could not have, that money that I could not amass. I was so beautiful as a young woman, now I am not. I've lost everything. You know, about I lost that job, I was unable to fulfill this job. Tomorrow I have to get up and prove myself what a great mother I am. That is the crux, I think. That is the crux for being tired, because there is constant comparison with the peers, with others, and I think it's such a waste of time. You know, Dr. Sudhir, I want to come to you. Dr. Sudhir, how does it impact our, when you look at it from the prism of being a neurologist, what are the first signs that you get? Tired is okay, you're constantly yawning. I've seen some people, let me tell you, who come to parties and on a weekend after having slept for 6, 7 hours, aram say they also have slept in the afternoon, but they come and they are yawning throughout. I say, are you bored? They say, no, I'm tired. Tired doing what? Nothing. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's the entire week, burnout. Tell me, what are the symptoms when you feel that this kind of terminally, I call it terminally being fatigued, very strong term. But what are the symptoms that you get, Dr. Saab, Dr. Sudhir?
Yeah, definitely. See, when we do something, whether it's work or whether it is spending time with family or it's exercise. So basically, we should live in the moment. And then, when we achieve something on that day, we have to enjoy that moment. But now what is happening is when one task is over or once something is done, we are already on to the next one. So there is no time to even enjoy the current moment. And people leave the enjoyment or happiness for future. And that future never comes. So, and then as a result, what happens? Our brain gets totally confused because when we exercise, there's a release of dopamine and good hormones. Same thing when we spend good time with our family, and then again happiness comes. But before one can enjoy the happiness, already it is because they're multitasking and the next target is already set, so they are not in the moment anymore. So as a result, there is no happiness. Everything looks so boring, so mundane, so routine, because there is no pause to enjoy the present moment. And that's what happens. Then they say, I'm doing so many things, but actually they are not doing anything properly. And so they do, maybe they are doing something half, then jump on to the next one because they all want to multitask. But for the brain, multitasking is not good. Many people enjoy, take a pride saying that I can do several things at a time. But that makes the brain more fatigued and tired because you can't enjoy even one thing. So better do one thing properly, enjoy it, rather than do three, four things and then do
Yeah,
it
it's
all half-heartedly.
but it's easier said than done, doctor. Ask the women. We have to multitask. We are said, oh, you're so good at multitasking. I said, listen, it's not a choice. We have to. You know, you have to give instructions to X, Y, Z, do a lot of other things. Men have the privilege of not doing it. So it's an anomaly to say women are naturally born like that. I'm sorry, I refuse to accept that theory. You're right. You got to do one thing properly, but it's impossible. Even as I'm speaking to you, I'm looking, my director is telling me in the year, you have 2 minutes left, Sudha. So I'm thinking about the next. Look at it. I'm looking at, both of you thinking about what I'm going to ask Dr. Deepak Raheja. Then people will turn around and tell us, Deepak Raheja, that, oh, you're not, Madame Curie, who found, a cure. I mean, you are just an ordinary human being. But don't you think, Dr. Raheja, that even Madame Curie and other geniuses did not have the kind of emotional fragmentation that all of us face today? Would you agree? Dr. Raheja.
I'd agree, and I think Dr. Sudhir has very beautifully set the foundation for that. That I think amidst the multitasking, also what we've begun to lose out is the art of being mindful. We are not, as a generation, as a society, we are increasingly becoming less and less conscious of our consciousness. So what we are losing is we are not in the moment, we are not here, we are aspiring for the next moment. And that, I mean, as much as we bask in it, as much as we feel it is essential, it leads the brain to a state of fatigue, exposing it to a barrage of neurochemistry, which is in the long run oxidatively not good for the brain. So we I mean, if you see the inflammatory diseases, the autoimmune diseases, the incidence of cancers, the mental health epidemic, I mean, as a society, the social media bombardment of भला उसकी कमीज मेरी कमीज से सफेद कैसे, because what we are portraying on social media is a filtered prism of a
Oh,
picture
yes.
perfect life. None of our lives are picture perfect, and it's okay to accept ourselves for what we are and who we are, and not be worried about whether my neighbor has the better car, or a better wife, or better children, or a better holiday. I mean, these days people go to holiday and they come back and they suffer from what's called as a post-holiday syndrome, where they are
Very true.
fatigued and they need to do vipassana or meditation or calm down to recuperate from the stress that they were exposed to in
Yeah,
the holiday. What was the holiday meant
right.
for? To recuperate. So we are losing the society, but are we really becoming a happier society is a big question mark I want to put.
That's right. The happiness quotient has really gone down. Dr. Sudhir Kumar, tell me something. Indians are tired most of the time, and it's an urban phenomenon. I do not know whether it's going to percolate into rural phenomenon. Dr. Sudhir Kumar, tell me. Dr. Aheja spoke about autoimmune diseases. Do you think this is one of the reasons that I could suddenly develop an autoimmune disease and from nowhere? I mean, I could not have the usual, diabetes, hypertension, etc., but suddenly I have an autoimmune disease. I have seen a lot of cases in the recent past where they say so and so has an autoimmune disease. I have heard of a lot of cases where so and so says he or she is bipolar. I have seen panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and here in my office with very young talented people. Is that one of the causes?
Yeah, definitely. See, stress is one of the very known prominent risk factors for autoimmune diseases. When we look at neurological diseases, multiple sclerosis, so stress is indeed one of the causes identified for causing it, and also for many relapses. Similarly, you discussed about mental health problems. So stress, anxiety, depression, they can cause a feeling of tiredness, and then if somebody is tired and not enjoying daily things, that can be a cause for anxiety and depression also. So definitely autoimmune problems as well as mental health problems can increase with a lifestyle like this, when we are not happy with the current moment and always chasing and trying to do more and more things and perfectly and in a short time when it is humanly not possible.
Right, Dr. Raija, before I let you go, I want to ask you a last question. How do you get out of this? Because if you're tired most of the time, you cannot even perform anything properly. I'm not saying brilliantly. There is nothing called brilliant performing. It's all relative. That's my theory. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Raheja. But then don't you think that this being tired also stymies your ability to perform any task to even 50%, because you're touching everywhere and running. You're not doing anything perfectly well. Did you hear my question, Dr. Deepak?
I missed it, but I heard the initial part of it.
Yeah. So we touch every little task that we are given, but we are not doing anything nothing comes to fruition, as it were. So everything becomes counterproductive, right? What's the way out?
I think we'll have to, like you rightly said, I don't think as society becomes more complicated as it is today, and multitasking is inevitable and unavoidable, as Dr. Sudhir was suggesting, we'll have to learn to micro compartmentalize and learn to do the art of multitasking with mindfulness.